I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to be doing an acrylic forest painting, something that's kind of backlit. It should be a lot of fun. And if you're excited for this and you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more painting videos. All right, let's get started. We'll start today here with our nice blender brush and, well, a nice pale color. I got a little blue, touch of red into that. I don't know if I really need to add any more, but there's a little bit of red. All right, so now I've, as you can see, tinted the background. We always do that when we paint acrylics because, look, see, when you stroke it, sometimes you can see these little bits of the background show through, and that's really a nice effect. So we want to be able to use glazes and stuff, and so that's part of the reason why we tint our canvas, so we can use a glaze, and we don't care if it covers because it just doesn't matter. We've already got a covering of paint over the entire canvas. Cool. And I like to dip. I've got, of course, my jar of water. Let me show it to you. A little pickle jar, actually. Nothing too fancy. And I've got a new and upgraded mister bottle. I've also got my old one sitting over here. That one does a lot of mist. The other one does a little bit of mist. Just depends on what you need, I guess. All right. Now maybe just brighten that area up and then feather it out. Try to do this as much as you can while it's wet. And I'm going to maybe make it a little darker with blue as I work across to the left. Now I've got my little bristle brush here, and I'm going to kind of smudge very impressionistic in some, well, this is going to end up looking like tree leaves and, you know, maybe bushes growing on the ground. It's kind of an autumn painting today, which is very pretty. I guess some of us are maybe still enjoying some autumn colors. Depends on where you live, I guess. Maybe not. I'm not too familiar with that sort of stuff. There, right over here. I want to make this corner darker, so I'll do that. Here's my palette. You see, I just grabbing all my wonderful colors here. I'm just putting them on. This is just now tacky, so I'm not coming up here and scrubbing too much like this. I'm kind of more just layering it on, allowing it to pick up some of the blue, maybe lighten it a little, just, you know, and then if it cuts through the paint because it's not actually dry, it doesn't matter because look at what tone we have underneath. All right, let me just continue doing this. Oh, up here, maybe start kind of just underpainting. Yeah, maybe make that even darker. I don't want too much color up there yet because I'm going to come back and do other fun things. So let's just start working kind of on these. And I'll tell you what, we're going to take advantage of acrylics, their properties today, because what we're going to do is we're going to allow this to dry. And you can see I started trees, but I don't want to do this just yet. And then we'll let it dry, and then we'll put our sun in and around all this. Cool. That actually looks about right. I don't want to go too crazy. There we go. So you just scrub it right on. All right, now let me just set that down. Let's go ahead and do our trees. So let me grab our, just a little blue and red and white. Make it a little darker than you want them. Oop, there they go. Nice. Just a hair darker than you want them because we'll wash them out with the sun. Look at that. You can do it while it's still tacky. I wouldn't do it while it's dripping wet, but tacky is okay. There. All right. Just get in as many trees as you want. It's gonna benefit from having a lot of trees, I think. So don't hold back. Yes. This is a good brush. This is a little synthetic number 6. Almost forgot the number. Number 6. Now I'm going to scrub in a nice light spot back here. You see, I'll let the painting completely dry. And you know what you can do, which I like to do, is hit it with a hairdryer because that speeds it up, especially if you live in a humid climate. I could not imagine doing this and letting it wait, you know, waiting for it to dry totally. It might be just too annoying. So there's your tip. Use a hairdryer. All right. And you don't, of course, you don't want to just get up here and go crazy with it. Just stand kind of far away and just blow with cold air on it, and it should speed up the drying time quite a bit. All right, so now we can dry brush blend some beautiful light right over the background. And this is where we're taking advantage of actually that one's a little goofy, let me not do that. Take advantage of the beautiful, beautiful effect that these acrylics can give us. These nice sun rays, see that? Drag them out. More moisture in the brush, less paint pigment, and you'll do a little better maybe. Yes, that's it. And then you can just drag very lightly. This is dry brush blending, and you get these wonderful sun rays. They burn right through the painting, don't they? And of course you can put trees over these. This is why we're doing it right now. If your painting isn't 150% dry though, and that doesn't mean just dry to the touch, it means dry all the way down, then you could easily lift this up and cause problems because the paint is wet and you're rubbing it pretty hard. So be 110% sure about what you're doing before you do it when it comes to this sort of thing. Okay, that's my disclaimer. Other than that, though, you should have no trouble. Just see how that burns through there? It really makes this background pretty. We're going to allow this to dry and then do it again. So you can only do so much here while it's wet because you can't go back in. See, it just cuts right through. Acrylics don't like to be layered when they're wet. They're much, much, much better when they're dry. So just keep that in mind. Again, maybe one right here, coming through the seam. And I really just want to fade a lot of this out. And this may take 2 or 3 coats. I'm using my nice bristle brush here. And I want this to be very, very, very washed out in the background. So maybe I'll just roll some of that in and around. The more water you use, the better. Oh yes, this is gonna look good. Look at that. Bring that right down into all the beautiful land area. I'm finishing up adding a little bit more brightness to the middle, and because I want it to be soft just in that circle area, well, I mean, I want it soft everywhere, but you know what I mean. All I did was really add a little paint here and started to blend it out. So I used my big blender brush, well, my skinny blender brush. There, it's perfect for this. It holds just the right amount of water and paint. All right, now let me set that brush down, and I know it's still wet, but maybe we can get this done. Let's see, let's take a little red, take some of our umber and our black. Let's see what we can do. This may or may not work. There we go. Right, let's see, right here. Oops, yeah, not too bad. Yeah, there we go. And that comes down and it's going to stop right there. I should add just a drop of water to that. Anyway, oh, another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is you may want to take your mister bottle and just lightly squirt your paint, and that'll keep it fresh and not drying out so much. And also just squirt out as much as you think you'll need for that little section, and then you can always squirt out more. Last thing I want you guys to do is let your wonderful paint dry on the palette. That would be kind of sad. It'll happen a little, but we certainly don't want to help it along. Okay, over here, actually I want to lighten that one just a fraction. I'll do that. And if you're using a good paint though, when you do stuff like this, you won't get a whole lot of color shifting, which is important. You'll get a little, it does dry just a fraction darker. Okay, maybe about a full shade darker. And as long as you know that it's going to be good, you'll be okay. But what we don't want is our colors shifting. We want our colors to stay pretty well true, which this paint does. Nice. All right, and then on to maybe another tree over here. I'm going to do a ton of these trees, and then we'll work our sun rays around them again once these trees are fully dry. There we go. A little more black. Oh yes, very pretty. Very pretty. We're going to need to do detail in here as well. Lots of detail. Look at the contrast building. One more, maybe just to the left of center. Now I'm adding a ton, really. I was going to say some. No, there's a ton of these on here. And I like that. These limbs really add a lot of detail that I think the painting needs in the foreground, mostly just in the foreground. And what we're going to do here, actually, I'll tell you what. Watch this, watch this. This could be cool. We're gonna do like a little bush or shrub thing right there. Yes, you're gonna need to add a lot of water to your brush, way, way more than when you do, well, you don't add water, oil. When you use oil paint, it's not like that because your water is gonna evaporate. So just about every time you reload, add some water to the brush. There, that's a long one. May have to cover that one with a leaf. There, anyway. You'll notice though that it actually is sometimes easier to get these amazingly long lines over a dry background. So cool. This of course is the same brush, different handle. Same exact liner brush. The reason we do that is all the other brushes are different, but the reason we do that for the liner is because I couldn't figure out a way to make this liner any better. I just loved it. So I kept it and it works wonderful. It's synthetic. And this way, you can keep it separate from your oil brushes if you like to do both. So now I'm going to grab my fan brush, and I'm going now with a bit of a darker orange color. There we go. So I've got my cad red, my yellow ochre light, a little cad yellow, and not much water, pretty dry. Okay, these are nice heavy body paints. So actually I'm going to wipe some of that off onto a paper towel. Look how nasty that brush looks. Perfect. Well, now we're going to come up here and we are going to stipple. And this is only a color number 1. We're going to have probably 3 or 4 colors in these leaves. Add just a little more red to my color number 1. Fuzz the brush out. Ooh, it looks even worse this time. Great. This is a great brush. See, it's so soft, and it is natural, but it's soft. And so it creates perfect little effects when you get the moisture content in the brush just right. All right. Oh, I didn't even check to see if they're not quite dry. That's all right. We'll be careful. There. Look at that. And I haven't got to show you this yet. Look, we finally got our paints available. That's one of the tubes. That's yellow ochre light. Probably need some more of that in just a second. But anyway, they're finally available to you guys. And I know a lot of you have already taken advantage of it. But if you haven't already, go check them out and give them a try. They're really a very nice paint. A lot of fun. They work well. And some of the colors are a little different than what you might be used to. I think you'll enjoy that as well. An example would be the vivid sap green. Look, see, it's a lot more vibrant than a normal, like an oil paint sap green. And those things kind of help with keeping your paintings brighter, because sometimes acrylic paintings can go kind of drab and dull. We want to avoid that. We want our acrylic paintings to have a little extra life in them. So some of the colors are a little brighter and cheerier than the oil paint versions. There. Now over here, we probably want this area a little bit lighter, so I'm going to go ahead and do a lighter color. I'll sprinkle the lighter color up in here as well, but I just want to get these important areas taken care of. Now, should your brush stop working well, what I want you to do is clean it out. I had to do that. See, I had to actually rinse it out totally in the water. Then you dry it out, okay? And then you reload it, because what happened is the paint got all the way back up into the ferrule of the brush, and then when that happens, you know, it doesn't spread apart as nicely. So watch for that. Once you put too much paint in the brush, it just doesn't work right. Well, at least for this technique. Other techniques where you want to bring it to a chisel edge, that's what's happening, is it wants to go to a chisel at that point. Other techniques, that's fine, but just not for leaves. And I love painting leaves with this brush in acrylic because, oh man, is it easy. If you don't want to have to paint 100 leaves by one, this is the way to do it. Good brush for this. So you can keep it spinning and just do random things with it. Really make some nice effects. And you don't have to just, you know, you're not stuck with this. And I don't ever recommend doing just one style of brush stroke. Never, never. I like to come in with other things. So like I'll come back maybe with our microfilbert, and you add to it that way. And it's not all just one solid stroke that people can say, oh, well, I can see what you did. No, we don't want that. That's not good. That's not professional. We try to make our paintings seem as finished and, you know, as finished well as possible, right? There we go. So maybe larger leaves right there are okay. Maybe darker over on this side. These are fun. You can paint leaves all day long. At least I could. Now let's go ahead and highlight our little path there. It's not a big path. It's not even a big deal. I'm going to take some of our vivid sap green and our red, and of course red and green make a nice kind of a soft brown, which I think might go well with this painting. We'll see. If we don't like it, we can change it. But let's just look and see what it does. All right, now what I want to do is come back up here, a little touch of water, not much. And just kind of, you know, here's your light, and we'll make that even crazier, but that's close, isn't it? We're gonna come right kind of through here, just touch down, and start to give yourself little rocks and highlights and stuff. Not too much. We don't want this to go crazy, you know. We're just looking for enough detail to kind of show a little light, but I'm not trying to bring the viewer's attention too much to this road. what I really like is this high contrast area up here. Down toward the path, it's not as important. Get that blended in there a little. Bigger strokes as you come forward. One of the beauties of acrylic is that it dries, and that's also a difficulty, but when it comes to stuff like this, it sure does make it easy. There, you can just drop it right on. If you don't like it, you can just paint right back over it again when it dries. And because there's not much paint down, this stuff dries almost instantly. Now when you glop up 2 or 3 really thick layers on there, without letting them dry, then it gets to where it's it takes a little while to dry. But 1 layer over dry paint, it dries really fast. Cool. Maybe just a small rock or 2, and you can just detail this thing out like crazy if you want to. I think I want to. Let's see how much detail we can pack into a small foreground, because it really is a small foreground. Now I'm going to load just a tiniest touch of paint into my custom tapered round. If you guys haven't seen this brush before, it's actually cut into a cone shape. The bristles are not just like forced into the shape, so it makes for a very stiff tip and a very soft edge. It's really good for sun rays, but the reason I didn't use it before is because look how much space we had to cover. This one's not exactly good for fast scrubbing. It's better for controlled areas, which is what we want to do here. Okay, everything's dry. That's not dry, I just painted it, so I better not go over that. But anyway, right here. Gonna figure out where you want this, and watch this. Oh, there it goes. Less paint. This is where this brush shines. You hold it overhand, and oh my goodness, look at this. Isn't that crazy? Crazy, 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 crazy. All right. Yes, now that, you can't tell me that's not fun. Oh, look at that. You may as well have fun when you paint. Cool. Okay, load it up. Mostly water, just tiniest bit of pigment. And the reason I go down there is I got a little bit of it in my paper towel, actually. The pigment and the water, it holds better there because the water doesn't dry out so fast. There we go. Okay, more water. Watch what you come back with just water. Oh yeah, that'll dry out more subtle than it looks there, but that looks good to me. So just stand back, make sure this is correct. Beautiful. Now I've loaded just a little bit of white and yellow into our tiny microfilbert brush. And right up in here, especially around the sun area, I'm going to just, remember everything's dry, come in and touch, and then blob it and smear it like that. See that? So what I'm gonna do is create individual tiny little glowing spots. Actually, don't pull it in a direction, actually just smudge it. There we go. I don't want it to look like a sun ray. Anyway, there we go. Let's just get a couple of these dots of glowing light. You can do these in a couple of, get a few done and then come back and smudge them all at once if you'd like to do that. Cool. Subtle, but hey, I just want to show you all these nice little subtle things you can do with these acrylics. In this painting, this particular subject, very acrylic friendly, more so than oil. Certain things are easier in different mediums, and this one is an acrylic painting for sure, but it still looks like it could be an oil painting. You just, if you know how to oil paint, you know that this stuff isn't easy to do when it's all wet. Of course, you can always wait, I guess, a couple weeks and let your oil paint dry if you want to. So you're never limited. You can always follow along if you want to do these paintings. I know so many of you guys do these paintings. Cool. Anyway, we may not keep all of these. I just want to get some of these in. We can take some out if we don't like them. One of the last things we'll do to the trees is just place on, with the microfilbert, of course, a couple of leaves. And you can do this actually with our, let me show you, with our angle filbert. I may or may not get it out. Depends on how close I want these trees to appear. And I'm not going for something that's super duper close. So I'm thinking that this one would be better. That one's really good for really close trees because it almost gives you a triangle. But the filbert will give us more of a rounded edge and a smaller stroke, which I think is probably better for this scenario right here. Whatever you guys want to do though, of course, it's your painting when you do it. So yeah, there we go. Looking pretty decent. Right on the bottom, remember, here's our light source, pretty clear light source today. So just give this a little more detail. This is what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned, you know what? We're gonna have more than one stroke up in these leaves. We want many, many strokes. And look at, I'm still looking back here and I see those little pieces of color that we smashed in the beginning, and I love it. See how subtle that turned out? I love that. Now, today I'm keeping my branches fairly horizontal. Not going too crazy with them. And I think that'll just add to a little bit more of like a forest where you can kind of look through and see the background. I don't want to cover my background, so don't go vertical with them. Keep them fairly, ooh, that's too bright. Keep them fairly horizontal. There. All right, I'm just gonna keep doing this, and actually these will be nice and light, back to our light color. Nice and light right here. Just kind of, you can kind of picture what you know, where the light would hit, and just throw some light, extra light in that area and call it good. All right, well, I think we're done with this simple little acrylic painting. I hope it's inspired you to put some extra light into your paintings. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and also the acrylic paint and brush line. Thanks for watching.